Hello, Colts Nation. What's up, No Horsing family? Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast. As always, I am one of two dudes talking Colts. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Burton. And today, I promise you guys, I swear, I promise, until news breaks, this is the last one. Okay. You guys have really seemed to enjoy the quarterback centric because, I mean, come on, it's the most important position. But the quarterback centric videos that me and Zach have put out, from Jameis Winston to Jimmy G to Marcus Mariota. Zach did a great video about Chris Ballard being on the hot seat potentially after this year. Make sure you go check that out. But you guys have seemed to enjoy it. It's the most key position on a team. It's the most crucial decision the Colts are really going to make this offseason in regards to what they're going to do. And I got one more one for you. Obviously, if you clicked on it, you already know what it is. But before we get into that, before we get into it, please, you guys, like, share, subscribe, comment. We love the comments that we get from you guys. I love hearing from you. I love hearing what you think. I love hearing if you dislike. I even like hearing if you dislike with my take. I like to kind of hear what you guys have to say. Please, you guys, make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. We're closing in on 1.1K already. Like, we just passed 1K thanks to the No Horsing Around family and Colts Nation, and we're already approaching 1.1K. It's insane. Thank you guys for that. So what is the purpose of this video? Well, dude, it's the curious case of Carson Wentz. For those who know, curious case of Benjamin Button, all that fun stuff. But this is the curious case of Carson Wentz, okay? Before I say anything else, I promised him I would do it. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. This video is not the opinion of my co-host, Zach Boyd. Disclaimer. Okay? So the curious case of Carson Wentz. We've talked about it numerous times before. At what point did he become a bad quarterback? I'm still unsure. Was it 2020? Was it before that? We don't really know. But focusing on this year, let's go this year. The curious case. Colts make the trade for him. I think you were either for it or you were against it. You either thought it would work or you didn't think it would work. Very beginning when it first happened. He comes in, says all the right things, breaks the bone in his foot, misses all of training camp, right? All of the preseason, then gets in there and we start not good. You lose to the Seahawks, lose to the Rams. It's just not good stuff, right? Sprains both his ankles with Aaron Donald, which, correction to anybody who knows, it was not on the same play, right? So we do all that. He kind of recovers. He goes on this nice stretch through the year. We have videos on this channel discussing, was he a top 10 quarterback in the league? Was he the MVP of the Colts? That's the high of the high, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. We obviously know MVP of the Colts was Jonathan Taylor, no matter what you say near the end of the year. But we have videos on this channel about this, right? Then the stretch comes, he's not playing as well. They become much more run-centric. They become much more run-heavy. Then the final two games approach. And it's a meltdown. He gets COVID. He doesn't play well against the Raiders, particularly well. He plays probably his worst game of the season against the Jaguars. And then all of a sudden, we're getting rid of Carson Wentz. Everybody after the season wants him gone. Everybody wants him out of here, including what we think is Jim Irsay. Let's talk about that. Season ends. Frank Wright doesn't really give a vote of support to Carson. Ballard kind of puts him on blast in his post-season presser, for lack of a better term. Doesn't really commit to him. Then you hear the reports. Hey, they might be trying to move on. Then they kind of get a little louder. Then they get a little louder. Then the next thing you know, we're hearing like, hey, it's no longer like 50-50. It's no longer like, hey, he may come back. It's, hey, man, I think he's either cut or released. Like, it's coming from Zach Kiefer, Stephen Holder on the 1% Better podcast. They're talking about it. What happened? That's the question. So, I mean, when we look over his stats, and a lot of people say stats will be deceiving this year, 9-8 is the starter, 62% completion percentage. Everyone knows 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Yards per attempt, 6.9. That's not great. I mean, what happened in the span of 16 games to suddenly open everyone's eyes, and I hear a lot of DVOA and things like that, but that's the curious case of it, right? Like, how do we go from, I mean, I'm going to be honest, how do we go from even on this channel to talking about is he a top 10 quarterback in the league to he's out the door no matter what? And I think that's the purpose of this video, right? I believe there's still a very decent possibility Carson Wentz could be the 2022 starter for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, here's why. Okay. It's not because he is the only option, which we've talked about, right? Like, we have openly talked about the fact that he seems to be potentially the only option. It's not because of stuff like this. Like, if you're watching on the video, if you're watching on YouTube, it's not this, and great. This is great. Like, he's out, he's working out with Michael Pittman Jr., Desmond Patton. He did that last year. Yeah, you look in the comments, it's fantastic. Paris Campbell, Jonathan Taylor, Darius Leonard's in there. And then if you look at Pittman's going, drown out the noise, like block out the noise, like they're building something special. Like, that's interesting. But in the end, you guys, really, I think the very real possibility here is there's got to be a deep breath moment, I think. We've talked about this. There's got to be this deep breath moment. So the reports coming out with Mortensen, everyone kind of links those to Jim Irsay. We don't know where Frank Wright and Chris Ballard truly sit, but we believe Irsay wants him gone for numerous things. There's been talk about leadership. There's been talk, there's the stuff about potentially that was not a good look that he didn't get the COVID vaccine at the beginning of the year, that caused issues for the team. And Irsay has said things like that. I still do lean on, I don't think that's pointed solely at him. Irsay has come out and said that if he's going to talk about him, he's going to mention him by name. Like, he doesn't pull punches. If he has an issue with Carson, he's going to go and Carson will know that he has an issue with him. It's just a lot of interesting things. Like, I even joked with Zach at one point, tinfoil hat conspiracy time, like I always talk about on Twitter, is he's on a private plane with Irsay weekend of the Super Bowl, flying supposedly to Knoxville. I don't know any of that, but he was on the plane with him. Then 2 days later, the report comes out saying that they might trade or release him from Mortensen. My tinfoil hat conspiracy was always that there was some sort of conversation that was had with Carson, and he didn't give an answer right away. And Irsay's like, okay, like I'll leak stuff. Like, I'll leak it. Here's the other part too, is I've always said I want to see Reich with a quarterback for 2 years in a row. But I think the overarching thing with this is that where's the upgrade? Like, we've talked about this. And I know there's a lot of people that say you don't need an upgrade just get rid of him. Just get rid of him. And I have felt that too. But where's the upgrade? Truthfully, Irsay is all chips in. I think we've all equated that, especially with the recent reports about Russell Wilson, is he's taking a big swing. He's going to try to go get, but if you don't get an Aaron Rodgers, if you don't get a Russell Wilson, which don't get this misconstrued, I'd love either one of them. I'd be okay with either one of them. But my issue has always been I'm not okay with getting rid of a quarterback who at times can be a borderline top 15 quarterback, borderline top 10, for a Marcus Mariota, who we've done a video on, for a Jameis Winston, who Zach did a video on, for a Jimmy G, who I could sell myself on, but it's a lateral move. I'm not okay with that. And I think my question is, and I'm posing it to you guys, is, does it feel like they may have gone for a big swing and they're not going to connect? These are trades, you guys. These aren't free agents. You're not wooing Peyton Manning to the Broncos. You're having to build a trade for these guys. You're having to convince the other team who doesn't want to get rid of them to give them to you. So there's potential that that's not going to happen. I think the reason Carson Wentz will be back is I think Russell Wilson stays put. I think that, and would I like Russell Wilson? Absolutely. I think Aaron Rodgers, I think there's a potential he stays put, talking about a lot of money. And the Packers have been working those books the last few days, right? I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think Derek Carr's working on an extension as we speak with the Raiders. Kirk Cousins is staying. I think level heads will probably prevail, that if they don't land one of these big fish, that he's coming back because he gives you the best possibility at success in 2022. Mitchell Trubisky doesn't. Jameis Winston probably doesn't. Jimmy G might, but yet again, that's a trade. Off the free agency, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't. Let's go draft route. Desmond Ridder doesn't. Sam Howell doesn't. Carson Strong doesn't. Like those, Irsay specifically said all chips in to win. Starting a rookie doesn't present that, and signing one of these lackluster free agents doesn't present that. If you swing and you miss on the trades, the best potential to be all chips in is then go spend your money and put as much talent. Now, I'm not talking about just weapons, much talent on this team. Edge rusher, corner, whatever you need to put as much talent as possible on the field for Sundays. That's what you got to do. So that's my take, you guys. That's what I feel. I feel like Carson Wentz is probably going to be back. I feel like he's definitely back if they don't land one of these big quarterbacks, 100%. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear your comments. We've put out so many videos about these different quarterbacks and been lambasted for every single one from people who say Carson's staying. So Carson people who think he's staying, let me hear from you. People who don't think he's staying, let me hear from you. I'm super interested. I want to hear it, okay? Like I said again, I joke all the time, disclaimer, this is not Zach Boyd, okay? This is not my buddy, my co-host. This is not his opinion. I told him I promised I would say it. So I end these things the same way I always do, you guys. Please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Drive on to 1.1. And in the end, I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out.